So for you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you join the Patreon group. Not financial advice, but if you're interested in seeing what we're doing in our portfolio, be sure to check out the Patreon, the free version or the paid subscription version. Both of them will give you a lot of value. And man, y'all been wanting to hear from this guy for a minute, and longtime friend of mine, I'd say. Long distance friend and long time. Hey, my man, Aaron.
What's up?
Hey, what it do?
What up?
You sound effects?
Hey, welcome, man.
Hey, the crowd love you. That's all I can say.
World-class pod, right?
World-class pod for a world-class guest.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who's been
thank
around
you.
the world.
That's right.
That's a fact.
Hey. So we got a limited amount of time with Aaron, so I know he's a busy man. So he just flew in on a private jet.
I wish. I wish.
Just touched down, you know.
But yes, just touched down.
Yeah. So why don't you let the viewers know who you are, and also just give us a quick intro. I mean, we know who you are.
Yeah.
We know. But give a quick intro to the
rundown,
people.
man.
Yeah. Well, we'll give a quick intro, and then if we need to take any tangents anywhere, you just
Hey, come on.
we'll go there. So yeah, my name's Aaron Noor. I'm an athletic trainer, physiotherapist out here in LA. I've been working with all sorts of level of athletes, Olympic level to just your everyday person that's just trying to get out of pain and live an active life. I work at a clinic out in Los Angeles, associated with the brand Undefeated. It's called UACTP. And then, now I'm kind of just working into this new space of my career where I'm operating as like an independent consultant.
Dope.
I just got a degree from University of Oregon in sports product management. So we got a little bit of like footwear development and design,
Hold
apparel
up.
development.
Bro,
That's crazy.
we got someone official in the house.
You gotta talk that talk, man. That's added to the resume. How many degrees and certificates you got?
I got one bachelor's degree, and this was when you could get. So this is a little tangent story.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have to get a graduate level to get your license in athletic training. But when I was in school, it was a bachelor's level. So I was going through my bachelor's degree program, and then I applied to be the athletic training program, which is like to prepare you to be licensed when you're finished with school. So like my days were spent like doing regular classes in the morning, and then I'd go to like my AT classes like late morning, and eventually that became my only class. And then I would do clinicals after, and I would go to dance practice after.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, I told y'all we had someone official.
That's in it.
We had someone official in the building.
And that was just the beginning,
That was just
That's
the
just
start.
the intro. What?
That was just the
Hey,
start.
bring it back. Everybody come back in.
He's got letters behind his name.
Yeah.
I just want you to know you have several.
I want you to know you sitting right next to someone.
I'm learning right now.
But yeah, I was lucky enough after I finished my degree, I got opportunity to get my master's paid for through Ohio University.
Wow.
So we did like a program where it was like they would pay for my master's degree, but I would like work under the university. So
Bro, that's dope.
got my graduate degree, worked full time, wrote a thesis. 2 years in Ohio was crazy.
Dang, dude.
So wait. So what are the two degrees? The two main degrees? It's
So it's bachelor's in athletic training.
okay.
Then I got a post-professional master's in athletic training because I was already licensed. So it felt more like a residency, but we
Wow.
didn't have that. It wasn't called that back then. And then I was working for a while, and then I was like, I want to do something more.
Right.
I want to get more of that creative side that, you don't really get to do that a lot in healthcare. So I went back to school 2022, do an online master's degree at University of Oregon.
Wow.
And what did you do for that?
That's a sports product management degree.
Sports product.
Yeah.
Man, dude.
I mean, it was like it's like you're so young when the people around you, like your parents and your peers, like they're just like, you should figure life out.
Yeah.
And I just did it because I was like, well, I know that it's kind of in the area I wanted to be. To be honest, it was like I wanted to be a doctor, and then I saw my cousin go through it, and he was like, "Don't do it."
Yeah,
Like it's a money pit.
It's like the worst time of my life.
Oh man.
So you're just pretty much, I guess, rediscovered this whole new, I guess, profession. Like there is no real label for what you are in the field of athletic sports, right? Like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different depending on like where you are in the world. Like in the US, Canada, and maybe like Japan and Ireland, they recognize athletic trainer, athletic therapists. But then everywhere else in like Europe, it's kind of like one umbrella word. Like you're like a physiotherapist.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
But in the US, if you say physiotherapist,
Nobody
that's
knows
technically
what
a
you mean.
physical therapist.
Yeah.
Here,
Okay.
you know, so I think it's because of like how specialized and nuanced like the US wants to be with like sports, that they literally have one job. It's like they had to hire someone to like work with professional athletes, and they just called them athletic trainers.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and that was like what I ended up falling into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the U.S. doesn't care about no one. It's like,
They're like, we gotta do it our own way.
You know what?
like, hey, but figure it out. Just make sure it's something, and I don't care where you work.
We're a big sports country, man. We're a big sports country.
Yeah,
You gotta recognize.
Yeah. So Charles, you got the topic list.
We got a couple things on here, man. We got a couple things on here.
Yeah, let's bring out that list real quick. So, off the top, what are some of the lists? Just giving like bullet points.
There's a athletic trainer. What drove you to become that? We got your types of gigs that you're going through. We've got the sports you might be involved with and who you might have been working with. We got the league. We've got again the Olympics and how that experience was. And then lastly, question about maybe a questionable freeze and what your opinion on it is.
That don't sound right.
That don't sound right.
You gotta say pause.
Hey, man.
When you lead up like that, you gotta say pause.
A questionable freeze. That's all I gotta say.
Just cut that right there.
But yeah, man. I guess this is one of Pierre's like biggest questions.
Yeah, let me ask that question. Let me ask. Wait, what's the question?
See, that's what I didn't want you to ask.
I don't have it up. I don't have it up.
I'll send it to you, my boy. But what drove you to become an athletic trainer? Like,
That's a really good question, man, because I think when I think back about it, like I was in high school at the time when I even first found out what an athletic trainer was. And it was because I had tore my ACL, meniscus, on my left side.
Wow.
And it wasn't even with dance. Like I was in like a PE class. I was unsupervised.
that must have been so frustrating.
Wait, so you tore your meniscus? You said?
At my ACL.
Oh, dude, straight line.
Just, I was that's what I felt like in my knee.
Right when he bent. Oh man, yeah, I know that's a tough one.
It's a funny story though, because like it's like I don't know if you guys watch anime, but
Of course,
100%. Hey, this is the perfect place for it.
well, it felt like I was living like my best anime life. Like I'm just like this young, like middle school kid that is about to like graduate to like go to high school. I'm like playing on the yard with my friends, and I just feel like the wind blowing, and it's like calling me. It's like like you should run, like run and jump, like go enjoy like this life that's out
What's
there.
that Windows XP background? Like I'm picturing the Windows XP background.
Like think about it. I'm running slow mo. Like I'm in like at least at my middle school we had like a blue, like you had a uniform, It was
Yeah.
Okay.
I had like blue shirt, blue shorts. So I'm running. I'm just like, man, I feel good. I'm just jump. And right when I jumped, I landed with my left leg first to the ground. And believe it or not, I was a chubbier kid. I was pretty heavy set. And so
I would have never known.
I landed hard onto the ground, and I hear a pop.
Oh man.
My friend Michael is like a couple feet away from me. He's like, "You okay?" Because I'm just laying on the ground, like I can't get up. And the first thing in my head is like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, let me just get up." And so my brain is like,
the pain
Oh,
get
so
up.
you're trying to get up and
no pain yet. Like I'm just trying to get up. I'm confused.
yeah.
And I physically could not will my body to get up.
That's insane.
And so I had to tell my friend Michael, I was like, "Hey man, like I think you need to pick me up." He was like, "Oh snap, this is really bad."
This was like 8th grade.
Yeah, like eighth grade, 7th grade.
And that was in the States, right?
It was in the States. Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, I had a similar experience to that when it came to just injuries because I've injured myself so many times too. But
Hopefully a better story than mine.
no, definitely not. Yeah, actually, yours is pretty good.
You painted that picture nicely.
That picture, my picture was not that nice. I was a little bit more slow, and mentally when it came to like, why did I do what I did in order to like break my wrist? Actually, I don't even know how I broke my foot, and then I ended up slightly tearing my LCL and like my hamstring. I think that was 2022.
Man, you've got quite the list.
Yeah.
You've got quite the roster there.
Hey, man, I'm gonna let y'all.
trying to catch up to you.
I'm gonna let y'all have that, man. I'm gonna let y'all have that. I'm good. You're good. I'm good.
Yeah, we're trying to catch up to you, but so when it came up to that injury, like what were the treatments for you getting over that? Because you like went through two things at one time. Like,
I mean, that's why like this started my investigation into like what healing and like therapy and medicine was, like even at a young age, because my parents didn't have health insurance at the time. So we went to the school nurse. They said it was a sprain, probably throw some ice on it and it's going to heal in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I went back to dance. Like I tried to dance.
that same day.
No, well, not the same day.
I was about to say.
But, you know, like it did, like swelling did go down in a few
Okay.
weeks. And then like I started to move it again. And I think when you're younger, like you obviously heal a little bit faster.
Right.
So I would try and go back and like, you know, just literally like bend down and like get into a deep squat. And I was training and breaking at the time and my knee would give out. Like it would like, you know, sublux.
So how much years past the injury was this particular thing happening at?
It was probably a year into
Yeah.
it that I like told my parents, I was like, I think there's like something really wrong. And so my parents, being like also not the most versed in the American healthcare system, was like, don't worry, I got a shaman to take care. I know somebody.
Beautiful traditional.
I know someone who will fix it for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I remember I got in the car and drove me down the street to this old grandmother. And the idea, or from what they told me, is that she would get possessed by a spirit. The spirit would have healing powers. And then she would like touch my knee and like it would be healed. So I was like, okay, sure, let's give it a try.
Yeah, that's
Blessed by the
anything at this
divine.
point, right?
Anything at this point. Let me tell you, it was the wildest experience of my life. Like I went up there, I see this grandmother transform in front of my eyes, and she goes from like, you know,
Turbo Granny.
like, yeah, like your typical granny style, and then like her like eyes roll back, and then it's like a child's voice that comes out of her
Whoa.
body. And she like touched my knee and cracked it. And I just remember being in the most pain of my life.
I thought something positive was about to happen.
I thought so too.
Man.
I
The
hope.
suspense was killing me right now. I was just like, yo, am I in the room with you?
Yeah,
And,
make me feel like I'm watching Dan to Dan, like Turbo Granny.
So needless to say, my parents asked me after the whole thing was over, it's like, do you feel any better? And I said, no, I feel worse. And they're like, all right, we'll get insurance and we'll schedule
Wow.
an MRI. And so that's like, eventually I got the MRI done, found out like it was torn medial meniscus, torn
Yeah.
ACL,
Wow.
scheduled surgery. And at this point I'm a sophomore in high school now. I finally got the surgery, and like, man, like after I was done and I did the rehab, I was like, good. I went to physical therapy. They got me back to walking again. Like I remember my PT's name. Her name was Georgina at Kaiser. I asked her, I was like, I want to get back into dance. And she's like, I don't know how to do that. So we're just going to get you back to walking. And that was like my first like, okay.
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
think this was also during the time like ABDC came out. And
Oh, man.
I remember watching so much like Cabo Modern and like actually
Oh,
So
dude.
Real.
Yeah.
So I'm like watching their videos, learning how to like finger tut and do all their stuff and like trying to do all this stuff that like Andrew Batterina and those are doing.
Yeah.
And then like Super Crew, I was just like, man, I'm gonna watch like all these like dance battles and
Getting
like
hella
watching all these
inspired.
Koreans like are doing like Gamblers were super popular at the time.
Yeah.
This is what year? This is like
This is 2014.
14. Okay.
2013,
Yeah, that's a
2014.
very big time for dance.
Yeah, so all this stuff was like hyping me up, and I was like, I was so hungry to get back into it. So that was kind of like my motivation to get through the rehab. And then when I got back from surgery to high school, and obviously we didn't have like a physical therapist at the high school we were at, but we had an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy like to see how much time has passed, because he was an athletic trainer there at my high school, and now I think he's like a director, or he's like in like he's I don't know how like the hierarchy within like the school system works, but he's up there.
He's big time.
He's big time
He in
now.
the WHO.
Big time.
So I want to know the real reason why you got into dancing. Like, was it for trying to
The real
pick up
reason.
girls in high school?
Damn.
You're like, man,
What's the real reason?
I noticed all the dancers. I want to be Chris Brown. Like all the dancers be picking
You
up
already
women.
know. I mean, I think the first real reason was just like the awe. Like, damn, a body could do that.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like my first person that I watched like that really like stunned me was like Michael Jackson. Because
Yeah.
my dad was like a big like everything in the 80s he like played in the house, from like
Oh.
Journey to The Police to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, good music.
Lionel Richie was like his favorite.
Okay.
And so I remember watching like YouTube videos of his like music videos, and they were like full films and like dance choreography. And I was like, wow, like I want to be able to do that. And lo and behold, at that middle school I had one PE teacher. There was like a day where like we couldn't like use the course or something. So she took us all indoors and was like, we're going to do a dance class today. Who wants to learn how to moonwalk? And I was like, there's no way she can moonwalk. And then she does it. And I was like, I'm sold. I'm in.
Clean as
Like,
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Clean
cool.
as one.
That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine your teacher being like, yeah, we're going to learn some cool ass dance move you just saw in a video you've been idolizing this whole time.
It was crazy. I was like, how do you know? And she was like a tall white woman.
That's cute.
Well, I remember seeing like this really big dude like do a moonwalk, and it was probably the cleanest one I've seen. No one's moonwalk has surpassed his level of
Can't touch it,
moonwalking
huh?
skill. Yeah, so I'm just like I didn't understand the physics, but I think at one point, like especially when I started, not knowing how to dance made me feel super regular. Like I felt like a civilian. Like I felt like harmless.
You feel like a superhero now with all these powers you have?
100%.
Yes, I agree. That was my mindset in high school.
Yeah.
Like we go into practice, I was like, I'm over there in like freaking history class, and they're like, I'm like reading about all this stuff, and back in my head, I'm like, no one knows I've been living a double life.
Honestly,
Sat in the back of the party
that's
with
the
the party
best
cup.
feeling, yeah. Honestly, that's the feeling I got from watching LXD.
Oh, yeah, Legion?
LXD. Dude.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Like there was something about that just made you feel like you were actually watching an anime about dancers. Or something. It made you feel like people actually
Yeah.
had powers or something.
No, for
so
sure.
cool.
So I want to get into this point. You got into the
Yeah.
Olympics. Was this your biggest accomplishment as a
got you.
athletic trainer? Yeah, go ahead and finish it for me.
No, you got it. You finished.
I'm
it.
so awed, man. I'm in shock.
It happens all the time, man. Don't worry about it. You know, it's
no
the
pictures,
post.
please.
It's the post-Olympic low. Yeah, I mean that was like, it was like a big milestone that I crossed off of my career, because I think, especially with like where I thought my career was gonna go, it never. Not that like I'm unhappy with like where it ended up. If anything, I'm like very blessed where I have gone, because if it had stuck to my original plan, I probably would have never got there.
Yeah.
You know, and the original plan was like, I'm gonna go to school in Ohio. My first job is gonna be like Cirque du Soleil, and I'm gonna like stay there and work in the circus, because it was like the only cool place I knew that like hired athletic trainers that worked with performing arts, you know?
Bro.
That's actually a cool idea to even think about. Like, who thinks about going and getting a degree that, is great, but at the same time, you're like, oh, I'm going to work under sports or under this thing, but to think even about Cirque du Soleil as a thing.
No, man. The glow up is crazy.
I mean, the glow up is crazy.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Wrong, but
the glow up from saying, man, I'm gonna go to the circus to now you're like in the Olympics and for dance, which is.
All right, you gotta put some respect on Cirque du Soleil's name. It's tight.
No, it's
tight.
not.
But the glow up is nice.
Yeah, the glow up is.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's always a little vengeance story. Because like at the time, this is, they were getting ready. When I was graduating with my master's, they were getting ready for the Beijing Olympics, and no, that was I think that was 2016. Anyway, there was an opportunity at the time when I had finished my master's to like go overseas to like Shanghai and like China for like different reasons. One of them was like possibly to like help out the Olympic development team there, but I had submitted an application for. And I just remember getting like that email back, and then it's like, nope, we're gonna go with somebody else. And I was like, I'm so ready. I swear.
Wait, how many years before actually going for breaking did that event occur?
From that letter?
Yeah.
That was probably. So that I remember setting that off maybe like in 2018. I had gotten it was that, and then there was like another opportunity to work for a upcoming Broadway show that was gonna like debut in Shanghai.
Wow.
And then I like turned that down for like family reasons. But it was like, man, like at that time, like China and their like sports med and like weightlifting development was like super like wow, like you wanted like to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I don't know when I'm gonna get the opportunity to like travel abroad and like like represent on a national level. Like, is this even possible? And so I like put that aside.
Huge dreams.
So they told you no, and then they still see you show up, and they're like, "Yo, I thought we told you no." And then you're like, "Hey, that's crazy, dude." Like, yeah, you really went and like accomplished some major goals. I think in your life, and that's just a start, So
thanks, man.
Yeah, very commendable, man. That's insane.
I'm just kind of thinking how shocked all of us. I don't know if shocked is the right word, but I think we were all watching the process of breaking going into the Olympics, and just kind of see it open some doors for people. Some people had different relationships with the idea of it going to the Olympics, but I mean, in general, it opened some doors and some eye openers. It put it on another stage, and for it to give opportunities to professions other than just literally breaking.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to hear that you had that opportunity to really, I guess, provide for the athletes, provide for the team, and be a resource and follow them and help them on their journey. Like, what was it like being the physio or athletic trainer for the people that ended up in the Olympics?
It's when I think back about it now, it almost felt like just this crazy divine timing. Where I'm like in this part of my career in life where I have a good amount of experience now.
Right.
And we've been building this with like Offset Med for like the past couple years, because we had focused early on and was like, we're going to double down on the breaking community. Like, even though like I came from like the choreo side, like, I always felt like my introduction to hip hop came from breaking.
Right.
And when I went early on to try and like get back into like choreo and provide for that community, I think it was just like a different urgency in terms of like how they viewed their training, their bodies, and athleticism and what that meant to them. Just the consciousness of that wasn't there yet.
Right.
But for breaking, in like even when I first started doing stuff at Jams in like 2019, like just those early conversations with some of the breakers, like I could tell like, okay, I feel like there's an early shift that's going to happen. So let's like pour into this community, like now build it. And like whatever happens, like at least we know that we were there and we were able to provide like community support, because as you know, like dance also gives so much back to like your own lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything from like, your self-confidence to like your friends to the memories you make, the lifelong people that you meet along the way. It's just like I felt like it was at least my way to give back, because I saw so many other people like do it through like, I'm gonna open a studio or I'm gonna be an instructor and teach. And for me, like I'm not that great, so that wasn't the best option for me. But like through like healthcare and stuff, I was like, okay, I think I could do this.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
no, you're killing it, man. Killing it. Let's keep killing it.
My
Let's keep
knees.
it. Yeah, my knee. I'm gonna remember that every time. I'm like,
That's right.
that's what happened.
Kneecaps busting over here.
So so Breaking for Gold occurred, right? So Breaking for Gold happened.
Yep.
And this is the initial startup for the whole Olympic process, for all the qualifiers, all the competitors getting into it. And, we get to that final point where you go to Budapest and then you go to France. Were those your first time actually traveling abroad for breaking, doing something related to that sports medicine field?
Yeah, so I had already been abroad with USA Beach Volleyball in Brazil like earlier that year.
Okay.
And
I remember you telling me. Okay.
so that was like my first trip abroad with Team USA. But at the time when we were helping out with like Breaking for Gold qualifiers, they had told us that, Offset Med would only be involved with domestic events. And once the athletes are kind of in the international circuit and the USOPC takes more responsibility over the athletes and their care, that, we probably wouldn't be needed. And so, long story short, I come to find out all these kind of like behind the scenes things that like are happening right when I get to Budapest, and like what an uphill battle it was just to like get someone that the breakers could like trust to work with them.
Yeah.
And also invest in them like long term.
And I mean, you don't have to say any names, but do you think a lot of other names were thrown into the pool and somehow you came up on top, or was it like you're like, I don't know which way it's gonna go?
Yeah,
but
so I think, not to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
But I still, even firmly to this day, that, Offset Med, we have the people who are the most invested in the breaking community, and that we put the time to like build relationships with like the cultural leaders and those who are like paving the way forward. So at that point, it's more like politics of like the sport, right? So if you're an Olympic athlete, regardless if it's breaking or not, like you're technically under the Olympic team care, right? And so this is kind of where you get into like, their organization is trying to do their due diligence to like provide people for them. And really there needs to be like communication on both ends. And, some people got along with those providers. Some people didn't. I had a conversation with one of my friends who works as a Olympic provider, and they had approached her to like get on board with it. And they did travel, and you need a lot of people to go to all these competitions and provide care. So it's also really hard just for like one person to do it.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to Budapest, we had that conversation, and she told me, it's like, yeah, honestly, like we probably should have reached out to you sooner. And for me, that was like very like,
That sounds validated.
Yeah.
and I wish that we could have held like clinics and courses to like get you guys up to speed, so that by the time you met with the breakers, it would have been an easier transition.
Right. But I felt that it was pretty smooth, like with you. I mean, it felt like you were natural. You just fit into the entire scene.
I mean,
perfectly.
it's nice when you've already worked like a couple Red Bull events and
That's true.
and we knew Beagle Logistics, since she was in the dance community, like just doing choreo before breaking.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. So to you, which one tastes better, Red Bull or Monster? Just...
Go.
Yeah, you didn't think I was gonna ask you no hard question.
Hey, for anyone that knows me, I'm a big water guy.
Oh, dang.
I like that answer too. But you didn't give us that Dave Chappelle answer, the one that paid you the most, right?
Who's paying? Someone's paid for this?
Someone paid? Who got paid?
Hey, the only one that sells water, to my knowledge, is the one with the 3 strikes.
Yeah, that's true.
You got water in that can.
All right, then.
He
Well,
said he laid down some subliminal messages. You just had to do a little bit more research into what he said. No, that's really dope. Especially having that Red Bull experience behind you and kind of getting to do a lot of these other things.
yeah.
So, was this your first time in France?
It was my first time in Europe.
Golly.
Ooh, big timing.
Yeah, because my first time was going with Jeff the year before for Red Bull VC1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was a lot more packed. Like, I'd say I didn't expect that much people to be in some of those. Like, they had really highly concentrated areas at the time, but come around the Olympic time, it felt like it was empty. I was like, yo, where's everybody just left? Like, what happened?
It did feel different.
Yeah. But I thought it was pretty dope because we at least had, like, it still felt like there was enough people. Like, I mean, it didn't feel like, it didn't feel too crammed. Like, but I'd say my initial experience felt really crammed, like in terms of like everything I've seen from the traffic,
people,
the bikes, the motorcycles, all that other stuff.
Everybody left and went on vacation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, one of my buddies, I met up with him in France, and there was one day, like, I got some time off. So he's like, I thought for whatever reason, like, we were just going to meet up and talk. Well, it ended up turning into, like, let's meet up, talk, and we're going to take you through, like, a walking tour of the city. And he, like, obliterated my feet. Like, we were like, here, talk here, walk, like, I don't know how long.
Like 20 miles.
Like, it was so bad. Like, I kid you not, guys, that I also made the mistake of, like, wearing barefoot shoes.
Oh, yeah.
I got the wide
bad.
feet. I need the wide toe box.
Yeah.
So I'm walking, Paris. It's like cobblestone.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah.
Very walkable.
I can see why your feet exploded.
Yeah, but because it's walkable, you need them comfortable shoes.
So that's what I did. I went to a local sneaker shop in Paris to like buy a pair of fresh shoes, which I like love now.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Man,
But
that's dope.
It was
I
like,
said, let me drop some bread on
I
these
know,
things.
I
You
know.
My
you didn't-
comfort.
Yeah, you didn't wear the new Nike Jams? You didn't wear those?
I did not get any. Oh man, that's like a whole nother story.
As a physio, you had to.
Well, and I'll be honest here. And I have to say this. And it's no shot to you, Nike, but walking extreme long distances with the Nike Jams hurt my feet like hell. But I did like how it fit. It kind of fits. It feels similar to how Vans feel on my feet. And I love wearing Vans when I dance or when I compete. So in that aspect, I really like it. But man, when you walk, like you got to walk, like it feels, I felt like, I don't know, but like my feet was stretching or something. Actually, yeah. But I thought it was a dope product for them to release to market. And I think it was about time that Breakers had something to be excited about when it came to breaking products, apparel, and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, I feel like just that alone, we could talk for like
I already knew it. I was
long
going to say.
time.
Hey, you brought your pair, right? You brought.
Oh my god.
It's funny because you mentioned earlier about how some of your endeavors as an athletic trainer, you're kind of dipping into fashion a bit, and how maybe some shoes might affect your physicality of maybe walking around or actually dancing or breaking. So how is that part of your career kind of feeding into creating?
It feels like my brain is gonna explode. Man.
Really? Oh man.
Because I was talking about this with a buddy of mine, and like fashion, footwear, clothes, like a lot of people don't have formal training in this. But it's also so interdisciplinary in the sense that like not only do you have to worry about material, you have to worry about fit and look. You got to worry about like color, and that's like a science too. And then you got to worry about like if it's for sport, like what performance or health benefits does it have? So then you're mixing in like the health and the science part of it. And then you got to have engineers. Like if it's footwear, they employ a lot of like industrial engineers.
Yeah. And that's what I heard with the Nike Jams. They did like a lot of research leading up to those shoes.
They ain't doing nothing.
I think they studied it enough to know what type of style and types of products breakers wear, and I think they were trying to fit that. I guess that similar type of style. They were just trying to create a style or a shoe or a product that would fit the style of what people typically wear. And I guess they didn't do too much into the comfortability side of it, but it was more like, okay, well, this is what people compete in. So like it's not supposed to be used as casual shoes, I guess.
It's not. Yeah. So I have like some insights about that because, you know, some of my professors I went to school with, they work at Nike or they like know someone that is still on that project.
Dang.
And, you know, side bit, like I actually met one of the designers for the Breaking Jams. Like it was after the Olympics.
Yeah. Wow. That's
What a
dope.
cool connection.
He gave you any shoes? Or?
No, he did not.
Let me know if he gave you extras.
But I think it's because, like, you know, the process of making a shoe is a long process.
It is.
It takes like years, you know, to just go from like concept to like actual like manufacturing. And from what I understand, I think they had only released like a women's Breaking Jam model. There wasn't like a men's.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That might be why it's hurting everyone's feet too. We got
you know, depending on who the fit model was,
Yeah.
and the type of last, which is kind of like, you know, the shape and volume that a shoe is built around. Like think about like it's like the infrastructure of a building. Like that's what the last is when creating a shoe. So, you know, there's all these different considerations that they're trying to make the shoe, and I think it's impossible really if the task was like make the one breaking shoe that will make all breakers happy.
Yep.
It's like impossible, you know.
I know some people that really like some elevated shoes like Air Max 90s, and then a lot of breakers that also like very flat shoes to make them feel connected to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you do have a lot of different preferences, and
Yeah.
that Nike Jam kind of seems like smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, that's true. So speaking of jam, I know you're trying to go to some jam soon. What do you have on your horizon?
Oh boy.
When you trying to make that next appearance?
I'm just trying to remember what I'm allowed to say and what I can't say.
Oh dang, we got embargoes on this. Info.
You know,
NDA.
you may have to follow up with me in like a few months for some of the stuff, but at least I know tentatively for now. You know, with Offset Man, we are gonna be at the future Red Bull event. We always do freestyle session.
Yeah.
Shout out Cross, one of the first people to believe in us and take a shot on us, even though he had no idea what we did.
Hey, no, Cross. He was one of the first people on the podcast too. Like, he showed up. Him and Romeo and Roger.
Oh, man.
Well, actually, Roger wasn't there, but Romeo, yeah. But I know Roger there in spirit.
The support.
There's so much history, so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Man. It's like, yeah, I love it. I love to hear when they talk and then they get into the stories. And just like, it's so fun.
Hey, so we about to get messy. Which one do you think won? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh my goodness.
Are you talking about the rap wars?
So we're just talking about the rap beef.
Oh, the beef.
Yeah, we're just talking about rapping. We're just talking about music. No, let him think. He's trying to think for him. Let him think. We want to hear what he think. We know what you think.
Who won the beef?
Who won the rap battle?
I mean, again,
Whose music did you
maybe
like?
because I'm from Cali, but I think Kendrick took it, man. I think Kendrick.
Thank you. You see this? He's a logical human being.
All right, you go ahead and explain to me why Kendrick won.
I'm just telling you, he knows what he's talking about over here.
You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me. You gotta enunciate.
He's clued in. He's locked in. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man.
So you like Kendrick's music over Drake music?
That's a different question.
Okay.
Who won the rap battle beef versus
Whose music you like more?
Whose music I like more?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I am someone who has like no music loyalty.
That's
You know,
fine.
like
That's fine.
Sometimes it's like, look, I think what I have to understand is that, and I think we can say this for a lot of artists, is like I can like their music, but maybe like not like them as a person.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think with Drake's music, you cannot deny that when a Drake song plays in the club or like on the radio, somebody is like feeling and dancing. They're like vibing to it, you know, like it has mass appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think when you play like stuff from Kendrick's work, especially like one of the more recent stuff from his album,
Like GNX.
yeah,
You listen to the whole album?
like GNX. Yep.
What am I talking about?
you're-
You're from Cali.
you're-
You go.
But it's like you're telling a different story, that
Right.
I think feels a little bit more relatable, or has a certain energy about it that you're just like, I can get behind this. And I think like Drake used to have that, and it changed. Like his music did change, and like I felt like Lost Favorite with me. There's some like tracks where I'm just like, it's a party track, it's like a fun track, but like Kendrick raps. Like he has good raps.
I think Kendrick know how to rap, but I think he's not as good in delivery. I feel, because I feel like so many people take what he's saying and they run a whole different direction. They're like,
okay.
This is what Kendrick meant. Like they start bringing out all the blueprints and connecting the dots and whatnot. Like this guy.
The cork board with the red.
Like
the
this.
red yarn.
No, but I think a lot of people, I don't know, man. I feel like if you able to make other men sing to other men with this face, like I think you got the sauce, man. I think
you got the sauce.
Because my thing is, and I guess it's everyone's preference. I'm a super big R&B fan. Like I
Okay.
love
Yeah.
like singing. I like vocals. That's what I like. And
So you like when he put his hand like this?
so there's,
He put his hand.
well, I don't know whoever did that.
That's Drake. That's classic Drake. That's classic Drake. You like when he put his hand?
What I don't think it ever looked like that. Maybe it's just you doing that.
That's a just hold on, I'm going home.
Well, I've seen this one. But if he ain't got you singing and like he ain't got you in the shower and you just like you got your head down like kind of in the corner like
All depressed.
yeah, you just
over here processing lyrics.
bro, that's a different, like I feel like Drake invokes, he's probably one of the only artists that invokes that type of feeling when it comes to listening to music.
Like you talking about the head down in
only-
the shower?
Yeah, like actually putting,
gonna lie.
like
What about shoot, what's his name? Dang, what, my brother loves his music. Not
Describe him.
is it still Kendrick or no?
no, because you were saying about what other artists like makes you want to put your head down in the shower.
I ain't gonna lie, so there's like some Spanish artists that be doing that too. I ain't gonna lie. Like,
What are you listening to now?
like in terms of Spanish music or what?
Oh, this
Spanish
man.
music.
Hey, there's
What
Drake
do you want
again.
now? You're right. I mean, he does Spanish
Oh,
tracks.
man.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Hey, shout out Checo. Shout out
Shout
Checo. Hey.
Nah, there's Romeo Santos. That way Checo gonna hate me because
man.
Checo was talking a whole bunch of
Hey,
mess to
man,
me in the
fire
chat.
him up. Fire him up.
But I mean, I literally learned a song in Spanish because I was like, bro, Odio sounds so good. Like, I was just
Wow.
like, and then I had Drake on there too, so I was like, oh, let me learn this thing
I'ma
too.
tell you,
This is post Aventura, so this is after Romeo Santos, went kind of like his own way and did his own thing. So, but yeah, man, this I don't know. It's you got to be able to sing, bro. That's how I feel it.
I'm not gonna deny that Drake's music sounds good. I'm just saying who won the rap beef? Who won the beef?
I think it's
So,
Kendrick.
well, you said beef. I think Kendrick won the beef, which is
Kendrick
like,
won the beef.
but I look at it more like, all right, internet battle. Like, what can I say about you that kind of sticks more with general public? But I think when you're looking at the lyricism, creativity, delivery, and like just wordplay overall, I feel like Drake took it. And no, I don't want y'all frowning at each other. No, Aaron looking at you. You're like, hey, we about to
let
extend
you
this podcast another 30 minutes.
I said, I'm gonna let you have that.
Oh, I think we have other topics to cover now.
I struck a chord.
Oh no. I did have a question because I feel like, it's interesting for everybody, I think, at home, just watching all these b-boys. Like, if you don't travel as a breaker and you're in your local scene, sometimes you see like breakers go to a Red Bull event, a freestyle session, some international what's the other one that Flores Flavor, stuff like that.
Yeah, Flores Flavor.
Yeah, there's some big jams that's popping out there that grab some big breaking names, and it's kind of exciting to see that at home. But then, as a person who provides for that community, it's kind of like, okay, who have you been able to work with? I think that grabs that attention or the eyes. Like, who have you been able to work with that kind of excited you to work with?
Oh,
Are you talking about from like a dance level?
From breaking and dance, or
from
just like
breaking? Let's do breaking and then in general.
Okay.
Did you work with Ray Gun?
No. Funny story about Ray Gun though. So this is a job I can't talk about. So this was the fall, so after the Olympic stuff. I got contracted to work with an Australian company. They had a location here in Los Angeles. They do like media shoots and stuff.
Right.
So I get to work with their talent. But the first call that we had for them to like get to know me, it was through Zoom. And I just remember like within the first like minute, they're like, so we saw that you were with, you were at the Olympics with breaking. And on behalf of Australia, we want to say we are so sorry. We take our sports very seriously here, and that was not how we do that. We apologize on like of all and like Australia's ambassadors to apologize to us.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah, and this is like a company that they make fitness content.
Yeah, yeah. It invaded
From the fitness side, they apologize for breaking. Like, hey, you don't know where I'll be out here.
I'm gonna be honest. It invaded everybody's, like, everybody in the U.S. It invaded all of the work circles of people who don't even pay attention to breaking. Hey, did you see, or do you know, or have you? And to think it invaded the space that you're in.
Oh man, and I still like once in a while, like, well, someone will find out.
Question.
They'll do the question, and they'll give me one of these.
Oh man,
I'm sure you guys got that.
Man.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, man, Halloween was crazy.
Oh man,
People
Yeah,
dressing
Halloween
up.
was crazy.
Oh, man.
I hope A6 made some money off that.
They better have.
They better have,
Yeah.
because I'm like, they got so much attention.
I mean,
No, seriously,
there were groups of people cosplaying and getting together to do whole videos. So they better have
man.
made some money.
But going back to it,
Yes.
your most, I guess your favorite person to work with.
There's
Was it
this-
Jeffro?
Well, it's funny because there's this internal story in the Offset Med lore of like the first breaking event that we got that I felt nervous working with was a Culture of 4 event that was thrown by Aeronetic.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And B-Boy Thesis came by, and I just like my like brain like shut down. So I asked my homie Scott to be like, I'm like talking to him, and I was like, Scott, I think he's got something. I just like left and went to the side
were
for a bit.
starstruck?
Because I was like starstruck.
Dude.
Because these are people that when I was younger.
Yeah,
these are the big names.
Yeah.
And then basically from that point on, I kept getting starstruck because I just
Kept getting.
but at that point, I think it worn off. Like I
Yeah.
kind of knew what to expect. But
Yeah.
on the inside, I'm like screaming. On the outside, I'm like, yes, let's work through this.
Yeah.
Had to be professional.
Yeah.
keep professional
Keeping
face
that
on.
stone.
But on the Olympic team, I think it was a weird place to be for me because again, I had like already had worked with everyone to some capacity. I think the only people that I didn't really work with yet was like Jeffro and like Sonny. And I knew who Sonny's like massage therapist was, so we were kind of cool already. And we had talked, and I think Jeffro, like when I saw Jeffro dance for the first time, I was like, man, this guy's bad. Like he could take it.
Dang, that's crazy.
And so, I mean, I just became like everyone's biggest fan, you know?
That's
like,
dope.
I wanted everyone to win.
That is cool.
I feel like this, this is in no way some type of political direction I'm going, but I feel like there was like kind of like a lack of what's like drive behind U.S. athletes, like to have, you know, to favorite, I guess, the U.S. side before the Olympics. And I kind of feel like, for me at least, like coming out of the Olympics or going into it, there was a lot of like excitement, like go USA type energy, because you just wanted to see, you're like, dang, like at this point, I really want to see like these people who are representing really show out, because I mean, all the other countries, they were doing their thing, but
Sure.
like at this point, I became like a really big fan. Like, all right, USA has to win, like USA. So it's kind of like, yeah, you know, it's
The patriotism came out definitely.
The closer we got to the Olympics, we're like, okay.
Everybody wearing red, white, and blue. Everybody got them
I'm
outfits
still
on.
wearing the red, white,
Hey,
blue.
see, I had to show. I was there.
Hasn't taken it off yet.
It's been on my body.
But that's such a real thing, man. Like, I think it's hard to see also like what angle you come from, because like I think if you were like part of that entire process from like qualifications all the way to the end, you're kind of like, man, like we don't have this, like you're kind of in a space where you look at all these other countries and look at all the support they're getting from like brands and media.
Very true.
And we're like here in the US where like hip hop was founded, and like where is that same type of support and like love? You know, like and something to bring up, like I remember watching the stories of everyone coming back home after the Olympics was done.
Right.
And I think Jeff Rowe takes the cake for most love shown by the city, because
That's true.
I was like this is like what I envisioned it to be like, you know?
Yeah.
You go out, you go compete, you do your thing, and then, you know, you come back to your community and it's just like,
And they celebrate.
we celebrate you.
Proclamations,
Yeah, and
parades.
yeah, because what's crazy is that the mayor even like gave him his own day, all this other stuff. Like it was crazy. Like he came back and people really celebrate him, taking photos with Simone Biles and a whole bunch of other Olympians and whatnot.
Texans game. He went to an Astros game, I believe. Yeah, I mean, definitely many sports teams in the city brought him out, appearances. I'm like, dude, who's this guy?
That does want to make me circle to this point. We just came out of the Olympics, and now we're like going back to these, you know, to jams, right? We're going to our local jams. We're going to some of the big events, things that happen all the time. Now there doesn't seem to be like any particular type of league or some type of standardization for judging, right? So I had a video that B-Boy Gravity actually shot a video talking about the AAU new started dance league, right? And I don't know. I want you guys to take a look at it. Let's put it on the TV real quick, and let me get you guys' feedback on this.
It's very peaceful.
It's like whenever it feels like it. All right. Hold on.
There he is. Yep.
The AAU.
Hold on. Oh, not that one. All right.
So the rumors are true. There's a new league in the breaking scene, and it's called the AAU. And now you may be wondering if this is a good idea for you as a parent or a coach to get involved with. Now, I will not tell you what to do, but I will tell you to ask a few questions. Something like, what makes this league any different than what's already happening in the breaking community? Will every event have qualified judges? Will every event have a qualified judging system? Will these jams or events run solely on time? Kind of like if you went to a baseball game, you know exactly how long it's going to be. If it's a part of a professional platform, will it be held to professional standards? How will this propel my child's future career? What are the benefits of being a part of this league that I'm not already receiving through the events that I go to now?
So I want to pause it right there. What do you guys kind of think, just off of initial thoughts about some of the questions that he's asking. Thoughts?
Valid questions for sure.
Yeah.
I think any league requires a lot of commitment, time, and to compete and to give your energy, to give your body essentially with this what could become a sport and what has become a sport in the Olympics times. You kind of have to figure out, like, hey, what am I going to get out of this? If you're going into the NBA, if you're going into NFL, NHL, MLB, like, there's a reason you want to go to those leagues.
Yeah.
There's a reason you want to play there, and it's because of money, fame, notoriety, connections, sponsorships, right? Being able to propel yourself a little bit further in life. And even if you're on the small leagues, like, there's a benefit to participating that we're chasing after. So I think those are very valid questions.
Yeah.
Something
Aaron.
we should be looking
Aaron, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think Grav knows better than anyone because he's been through it at the highest level.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think this isn't like the first time that a formalized way of like trying to create a pipeline for breaking for youth to like level up with the breaking community. I don't know if this is like common knowledge, but before the Paris Breaking Olympics, they had trialed it with youth.
Yep.
Youth Olympics, yeah.
The Youth
Was
Olympics.
that back in 2020 or 2022? I think it was 2020 or
2 years
2022.
before, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was 2020.
I just remember Bumblebee Outstanding was crazy nice, and he definitely showed everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like 2022, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Youth Olympics is on track to come back.
Yeah.
So
they had an event in Shanghai, I think.
they're already having events.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at it from a global level, right? Like, how are other breakers in other countries preparing and developing their athletes? And I think that when you take a step back and you look at, like, you expand the time horizons, you'll realize that a lot of sports like invest early or try to
That's so true.
in the infrastructure so that you may not, like we didn't win 2024 Paris Olympics, but like, how are we going to win 2032? Well, guess what? It's going to start with the kids.
Yep.
Right? And how do you make sure that all the hard fought knowledge and experience of like the greatest of our time, how does that get passed on? How do you teach a kid discipline, but in the context of breaking, instead of like trying to learn it through like, oh, why don't you go like do wrestling, and then like you figure out how to apply wrestling into your breaking?
Yeah.
Which, I feel like that's kind of like what I had to do with like healthcare and dance. Like, no one said like, this is how you're going to be an athletic trainer for dance. I knew how to do it for football. I know how to do it for soccer. Like, this is stuff that's already been done by generations before me. But for breaking, it's never been done.
True.
So I had to take all this different stuff and apply it. And so I think with a league, right, it's like, it may not be perfect, but at least now you're getting something that is like similar athletic development timelines and pipelines that's similar to like AAU basketball or like youth soccer.
Yeah.
Like, you get to have the opportunity for these kids to like start learning these like skills under, good supervision. I think the flip side to what other sports are learning now, that if we can prevent, is like early youth sport specialization. Like, if it's like the kid that will only train breaking from the age they're like 4 till they get 20.
Yeah.
That may not be the best way to prepare someone to be a robust athlete by the time they
Correct.
reach like an Olympic year.
That's true. That's so true. And just for me to give my thoughts on kind of what Gravity's putting together, I like a lot of the points that he's bringing up, and at the same time, I do feel like we do need a league, something that's breaking centered, and we need standardizations too. And I think that gives more athletes the ability to know what they're working towards. and kind of how things are moving right now, I feel like a lot of people are like kind of aimlessly like, hey, maybe if I focus on this, if I get my power stats up, or if I get my style points up, the judges will vote for me. But but the judging criteria is so skewed in a way where it's like, okay, what do you guys want me to fundamentally have that I can, for the most part of it, earn points or gain some type of visibility when it comes to competitions. And there was an event that happened most recently in Canada, and I was watching Jeffro and Floyd go up against a few Canadian people out there, and they ended up losing in the semifinals. But there's always this thing where you're leaving an event, and I feel like sometimes the judges will come up to you and say, "Man, I thought you won." Man, don't you ever tell me you thought I won after you voted against me.
The crazy part is it's not just like one person; several people have commented on being able to hear that.
And like sometimes you'll like what's the most important factor when it comes to being a dancer? And for me, when I feel like you're dancing on a stage, I feel like, well, you have to be entertaining. You have to be an entertainer. Michael Jackson's an entertainer, professional, highest of his level, of his caliber. And I mean, and just for dancers overall, it's entertaining. And I do understand sometimes the stat-based systems where you have to have footwork, you have to have this, you have to have this. But I feel like sometimes like some of these other criteria get overlooked because they're like, oh, well, I didn't like exactly how your footwork looked, but it's like, well, my body's like, I got a long torso and short legs, or like something weird, and I feel like dance kind of needs that type of standardization. What could we focus on that might help, everyone like in a uniform way better develop their skills to where they can earn more points in a reasonable way to where it's not, we're kind of leaving it up to chance. That's kind of how I look at it.
That's a big question.
Yeah. Sorry to do that, man. I'm gonna see y'all later, though.
I think. Well, I'm gonna reference an earlier podcast you guys talked about, because I think to your point, like, what is the most important part of like dance and battles? It's like, yeah, I think entertainment is one of them, but then you'd run into the rabbit hole where people will argue things like, I think you guys had talked about this earlier. It's like, who had the better Super Bowl performance? Like, is that a competition? Like, can you like actually measure stats wise? Like, okay, like if we're going to measure it on viewership level, then technically Kendrick Lamar has a lot of viewers watching the show. But then if you're looking at the entertainment level, right, you guys had talked about like, I don't know if the crowd was like feeling it compared to like watching Beyonce or Usher.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put Michael Jackson at the top. But I think the streaming, like a lot of things changed around streaming and viewerships to where now everyone has a screen on their phone. It's on Tubi. It's so accessible.
But to your point, like this, there's a lot of subjective things that cloud the hard numbers of the things we try to focus.
But here's a question: but why is Michael Jackson regarded as the best Super Bowl performance in comparison to everyone else?
I mean,
or do y'all think Kendrick was better?
He was.
And that wasn't a dig. That was the dig.
Oh man, I'm just saying.
He's enjoying this.
I'm saying, look. He stood there for 2 minutes and people was locked in.
Michael Jackson got hockey, man.
He got hockey.
Did you hear about the? I saw this like article about Michael Jackson like performing in like maybe it was like the Ukraine. It was a European country, and they said that like people like either passed out or like died like when Michael like first appeared on stage because it was just so shocking.
Yeah,
I heard people regularly passed out.
I've seen the videos. Like this man looks in that direction, you're gonna go lay down. She faints. He looks over there. She faints. They're carrying people out, like with the EMS and whatnot. Like Michael Jackson had hockey, man. Like
he definitely
he had Kings like Conquers hockey or something.
He has something going on for sure.
Now I feel like we're so deep. Where we need to be.
No, but going back to the subjectivity of
yes.
being an art and being a sport, I think we're trying to clash those two things together. And it's like, how do we come up with something that we can actually follow, understand, and from an audience, like even if as dancers, we know what we think looks good, we know what's entertaining, we know what generally is hot right now, because over the years, right, like being at Powerhead is probably the biggest thing that was gonna give you some wins, but then style came back, or you have to mix the two, almost, right?
Yeah.
There's some swings that happen with what's popular, what's winning, and you pay attention to those things, and you kind of come up as a breaker, figuring out your style. But in this age where we're trying to get some numbers, some spectators, we're trying to build our events to be bigger, especially here in the U.S., where that's a contrast from Europe. It's like, how do we make it more understandable from the competitor's perspective and from the audience perspective?
But that to that, I think that's why it's so important for the entertainment side to like really show out. Because if we go purely based off of like form or like your foundation, man, your footwork look weak. I mean, if we go off of some of these things that I guess the crowd wouldn't really necessarily know how to digest, then you lose a lot of excited fan base. Like you lose that excited fan base that's like, oh, I came here to see the the blow ups, or like to see that creativity, like how creative, like this person hitting this on the beat or something like that. So like that's where I always look at it, like an entertainment perspective. It's like you don't have to just be one thing. It's like how do you manage the crowd when you dance? Like how can you like kind of take the temperature, gauge your temperature,
what do you want to
and
encourage
provide
breaking to go?
Yeah.
Where do you want to encourage breaking to be?
I think so. There's a lot of different angles, so I'm just gonna spitball different concepts.
Let's go.
If we're leaning more towards the entertainment side, I can see breaking being very successful in almost the same model that the WWE took, where you have a set group of characters,
right?
And characters meaning that, like in breaking, like what are your signatures? What is your personality? What are the common things that like you are known for, right? From like your style to your demeanor to how you like, are you someone who's like, I don't know, Jeffro might touch me. Pause.
I'm about to say you had to add that pause, man. That was a long time before that pause came.
Hey yo.
But at Budapest, right? He's like getting all in.
Everybody was like, "Oh, he might be disqualified."
Which was like really freaked everyone out.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean that. But like you have people with such strong personalities, and you like cater, because they used to like do traveling like shows and events, and you can get like local wrestlers who are trying to make their way up and like have an entertainment event, because you have this like story that kind of follows along. And I think Red Bull kind of does that to a degree, just based on like the invites they pull. But I don't think they're as intentional to like spin it that way. But I think that's if you want to take it from the entertainment value side, but still keep it sport.
Right.
But art and entertainment, like I think that's more on that end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've never actually heard that comparison, and it's super interesting that you bring it up that way.
Yeah, I've always looked at it like a I wouldn't say theatrical, but when you watch, like, I'm not gonna say like a theater play or something like that, but when you see like art being displayed on stage, there's like some form of entertainment that you have to be able to follow, that you kind of like, there's some storytelling, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but overall it makes it entertaining in a way where, it had this, and this is kind of why like I loved this piece, or I love this show. But hopefully we figure something out to where, we don't lose a lot of excited audience.
Yeah.
The excited audience space.
Well, look, I got one last question for you.
But before you do,
Okay.
let's hear like another like 30 seconds of
Oh,
gravity.
okay.
Will the $50 that I have to pay to be a part of the league enhance the league in any way? Will just anybody in the scene be able to be a part of this and host these events in their local cities? If so, what happens if these people are known for not doing a good job with hosting events? You see, I personally don't think we need to be a part of an AAU of any sorts of ways. I think that is the last thing we need as a community, is to be a part of another platform without infrastructure for what we are doing. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. We need infrastructure. We need to make sure that we have consistency within judging qualifications, and time management and formats, so on and so forth, rules, those type of things. I did hear that if your studio program gets involved, that you'll get insurance. But if you have a studio or a program, you should already have insurance. It's kind of illegal to operate without it. And for a dance studio, it's quite inexpensive. There are a lot of high-level coaches and breakers that understand this right now. And we are all working towards banding together to build something that is better for the youth and more professional. I really believe that we still need time before we do something. And when we do something, it needs to be solely done by our community. I promise you, it'll be the best thing we ever do. So the next time you think about throwing an event or being a part of an event, I want you to think to yourself, are there qualified, certified judges in my city or in your city? And do we have what it takes to really throw a professional event? I'm not shitting on it. I just believe there needs to be a new standard. Peace.
That's final thoughts.
Hey, man, it's super awesome having you on. I like what you do. Thanks for providing that service at this professional level for the community. And we're going to keep it pushing, man.
It's an honor.
Yeah, I want to thank you again. Thank you for joining the platform again today. We got Aaron here, guys. It's been a long day. He came straight off the plane just to get on the podcast, man. It's going to be crazy. So for you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you join the Patreon group. Not financial advice, but if you're interested in seeing what we're doing in our portfolio, be sure to check out the Patreon, the free version or the paid subscription version. Both of them will give you a lot of value. And till next time, make sure you check out the Hotpot, check out the website, get your dope merch, and appreciate you, Aaron, for being here today, man.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.